right, day 8. We're gonna get started seated. You can sit in Virasana, maybe a block underneath both sitting bones, pulling the calves out from the back of your knees. You could also sit in a chair cross-legged. And then it'll be nice to have 2 matching firm blocks or maybe 2 hardback books that are the same size as an option. Knee padding also will be helpful, and that's about it. So we'll start holding one forearm and then circling the wrist as big of a circle as you can, but also trying to spread your thumb away from the pointer finger, the rest of the fingers apart from each other, and then circling back in the opposite direction. You're just holding the forearm because it keeps it more of a clear wrist movement rather than incorporating the elbow. And then we'll switch and do the other hand. And just going nice and slow at your pace, a couple rounds each direction. Going really slow is much more beneficial than a bunch really fast where you're not actually hitting your end range. When we get to end range, it's technically a strength training exercise at that point. Okay, reversing the circular direction, really trying to get that lateral movement side to side, as well as flexion and extension at the wrists. Pulling the thumb from the pointer finger. Did we switch directions? I don't think so. Make sure you switch directions on the second side. Good. Okay. And then opening up the palm, try to pull the back of your hands towards your face, spread the fingertips out and straighten the knuckles, and then tuck the thumb in and curl your fingertips around and draw your knuckles towards the floor. Rock the hands a little bit, and then turn your thumbs to the ceiling and go back and forth in a neutral wrist, like you're hammering, but just from your wrist. Good. Okay, and then release that, spread out again. Pull the fingertips towards your face and come into a namaste with really spread apart fingers, going for a stretch and then pushing into the pads of your fingertips. So we wake up this strength before we come into a plank position. And then pull the fingertips apart. Can you keep that angle while separating your hands? Good. And then release. So we're just continuing some of that wrist work that we've been taking. Okay, shrug your shoulders and release them down. Again, shrug and relax your shoulders down. Take your thumbs towards your shoulders, draw your elbows together and up to the ceiling, and then wide apart and down, staying pain-free. Paint some big circles with your elbows. And then go back in the other direction. Good. Okay. And then from here, we'll stretch out our legs, coming forward. You can move your block, reaching one leg back and then the other. And as you place your palms, you're really rocking the weight forward, pressure into the pads of the fingertips, knuckles spread out wide. And then from here, let's tuck the toes and reach up and back to downward dog. And feel free to wiggle a little bit, bending one knee and then the other. And then let's just be playful about rocking forward, keeping that wide back body as you come forward, plank, and then rocking up and back to downward dog. And just seeing how kind of buoyant you could stay up into your back body as you shift back and forth a few times. Good. And then in your plank, can you bend your knees towards the floor and lift them back up? Nothing changes but your knees, bending the knees and extend, bend the knees and extend, and then bend the knees this time and hover them silently like 2 feathers landing on the floor. And then from here, really arching your back. I needed to shorten my straight a little bit, so adjust as you need and arch your back to the ceiling. And then drop your belly to the floor and bring the breastbone forward. Good, and then standing up on the knees, shake out your wrist. And then from here, we're gonna take our 2 cork blocks wide as you can on your mat, hands in between the blocks, and pad your knees as you need. So I'm walking my knees back, so I'm in a plank position and really, really spreading the shoulder blades apart. pushing the hands down into the floor. And then from here, we'll take the right hand up onto the block and then push and hovercraft your left hand off the floor. And then slow motion, lower the left hand down, the right hand down. Left hand comes to the block. Hovercraft the right hand and then come and set it down. So this, go a couple of times side to side, activates serratus, anterior underneath the shoulder blade. And we're trying to keep everything still the same, facing the floor and really widening into the back body. If this is boring and easy, do it up on your toes. You are in control here. I want you to keep a nice buoyancy up through the back ribs and the back of your pelvis. Good, let's go a few more times, side to side. This is gonna wake up shoulder blade muscles, make it easier to take your arms overhead, and improve your breathing. Good, okay. Coming onto the elbows now, flip your palms up to the ceiling and walk your elbows close together under your eyes. Push your forearms down, widen the back body, and then rock your hips back towards the back of your mat. So not a back bend. Big stretch for your triceps, your latissimus. You're trying to open your palms, pull your thumbs towards the floor, and explore your breathing. Good. Okay, and then rocking forward, we'll come and sit on our left hip and come onto your elbow. So the elbow's maybe just a little bit out from underneath you. And you're moving your rib cage away from the elbow. The knees aren't 90 degrees, kind of more towards the bottom of the mat. And then there'll be a tendency to back bend here. So really stabilize between your belly button and your pubic bone. And then push the left shin, the bottom shin heavy to lift your hips off the floor. From here, you have the option of opening the right knee up off the left knee and reaching the right hand towards the ceiling. And just seeing how high can you lift up off your left shoulder blade. So we're like starfishing. And driving your left shin down into the floor, left knee heavy to engage the outer hip. Pad your knee if you need. How high can you lift your right knee, but without sacrificing the lift of your left hip? Good, breathe. Keep widening across the collarbones, widening your shoulder blades, reaching up to the ceiling. Good, right knee down, hip down, and we'll release. And let's come and do our second side. Do-si-do around. Moving the rib cage away from the right elbow, knees towards the bottom of your mat, pushing down into your bottom leg. Feel the right hip engage, the right shoulder blade engage. Left arm reaching to the ceiling, left knee can starfish open, and you breathe. Did you back bend? Connect pubic bone to breastbone, and keep widening across the collarbones, widening across the shoulder blades. Keep lifting your left knee high, but without sacrificing the lift of your pelvis. Don't forget to breathe. Good. Keep the shin down into the floor. Can you lift your hips any bit more? Take another breath. Stabilize the front body. And then left knee down, hips down. Good. Okay, coming up, maybe just to stand. You could also sit for this, but I just want to check in with the shoulders. So wake up the feet, lengthen your toes. Take your hands out in front of you, palms facing up. Pull your thumbs towards the floor and open up your hands. So the wrist is neutral, but I'm waking up the back of the wrist, the extensors. And then pull the hands out. Keep spreading the thumb from the pointer finger. Try to touch the wall behind you as you reach out. Control the front of your rib cage. Go towards straight elbows. Good. Thumbs towards the floor. Rebend your elbows in. Wake up the extensors, strong back of the hand. And then bring the fingertips towards each other. Good. And then pull them apart. Open up the back of the hand. Extend the arms out straight. Thumbs towards the floor. Palms are really open to the ceiling. And then try to touch the wall behind you as you rebend in And then take the hands forward and release them down. Good. Turn the palms back. Now reach the hand as far back in space as you can. Re-reach the feet into the floor, grow tall. Bend at the elbows, hover your hands behind your back. Good, and extend the arms straight. A couple more times. Bend without touching your pelvis, and extend. 2 more. And extend. Can your hands reach higher? Bend without touching the pelvis. This is the last one. Extend. And then release. And come and rest down. Sweeping the arms high overhead. Exhale, Uttanasana, your forward fold. Good. Bend your knees. Plant your hands. You have to maybe turn around, step back for your downward dog. Give a little wiggle. Reach the hips up and back. Good. Okay. And then we'll release and come down. We'll do a second side on our left. We're going to incorporate some hip work. So this gets a little bit spicy. Stop at any point in the progression. So left elbow down, knees more towards the bottom of your mat. Move your rib cage away from the left elbow, and then we lift up. Starfish. And then maybe extend the top leg and the top arm. Keep lifting your hips, and then just see. So I'm on my left elbow. Strengthen the front body, and just see how far can your right foot go behind you, and your left arm reach a little bit out and forward in front of you. And you're just starting to rotate your front body towards the floor, re-strengthen the front abdominal wall, re-lift your face away from the floor, open the eyes at the back of your skull. And then coming forward, you can kind of click knee and elbow towards each other, facing forward, and then reach apart and rotate. So we're technically lengthening the outer left hip. You could think about reaching your left hip kind of back and down towards the floor, and then de-rotate knee and elbow together. Good. Do this at your pace. A couple more. Strong back body. So when I'm twisting, if I really connect breastbone to pubic bone, I can even get a little back adjustment here. And then coming back, we have one more of these. Twist. Lengthen the outer left hip. Strengthen between breastbone and pubic bone. Wide into the back ribs. Don't let your face drop towards the floor. And coming back and releasing down. We did it. Okay. Let's come into our second side. So you're on your right elbow, right hip. Catch your breathing. And then move ribcage away from elbow, strengthen the front body. Lift up. You can starfish, or you can start to reach your arm and leg straight. Hip lifts, and then as we rotate, the hip drops a little bit. As you're reaching your right hip back and down, connect breastbone to pubic bone, strong front body. And you just see how much can the left leg kind of reach back behind you, and the right arm reach out and forward. And then de-rotate elbow and knee together. Keep going a few more times. This is called a DNS star. So this is taking advantage of some kind of ingrained movements from when you were a baby, first learning to move, trying to get this hip to work and move in an elongated position, which it maybe does not want to do. Okay, so rotating, lift out of the right shoulder, breastbone to pubic bone. Get that length through your body, length through the outer right hip. We have one more, I think, on this side. Pace yourself. Good. De-rotate. And then release and come down. Whew. Okay, so, take those at your pace, but you can start to build up to those rounds, those repetitions. And then from here, we'll do some kind of playful plank pose. So do the variation that works well for you, okay? I'll show a couple different options as we move along. Coming, well, up on your hands is a little harder. So let's come up to downward dog. Know that you can always adjust and be on your elbows, okay? If it's too harsh on your wrist. So from downward dog, I'm just gonna swivel my heels to the left and shift forward. I'm in plank. And then shift up to downward dog, swivel my heels through center and to the right, and I'm in plank. Really buoyant plank. It's a twisty plank. And then pushing up, feel that side body stretch on the left. Let's do that one more round. Swivel heels to the left, plank pose, feel the twist, wide back ribs,
Downward dog, stretch on the right. Swivel heels to the left, plank. And then up to downward dog, stretch on the left. Okay, now we'll go to the right. Option to step the right foot a little bit out in front of you and shift forward, tenting your left fingertips, or rolling and reaching the right hand up to the ceiling. Boone, you gotta lay right in the way here. Okay, so we're lifting the hips as high as you can. Maybe your hips are higher than your shoulders. How would that feel? And then turning down, stepping back to downward dog. Swivel the heels to the right. Maybe the left foot steps forward. As you shift forward, the fingertips on the left could be just tented on the floor, or you could turn open into plank. Can the hips lift even higher? Good, and then come back to downward dog. Are you having fun? Let's do one more. Swivel heels to the left, plank. You could stay just like this, take a break, or you could try reaching under your left armpit and then turning back open. Do what's safe for you. Reaching under the left armpit and turning back open. High obliques. Maybe two more. Only do this if you're smiling. One more. And then reaching and turning open. Swivel the heels as you lift back to downward dog. Heels turn to the right. Plank. Rolling open into side plank. Left arm reaching to the ceiling. Staying here, or maybe a couple of those reaching under the right armpit. And then turning open. Reaching under. And turning back open. Make sure you're breathing, smiling, I hope. Isn't this fun? Last one, reaching under and rolling open. And then last time we will lift and come up and back to downward dog. It's weird to me how easy downward dog can feel in comparison to all those planks. And then coming down and rest comfortably for you. So child's pose, seated, cross-legged. Taking another full round of breath in and out. Thinking about what you feel glad about. What are you grateful for here? All right, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day and your strong, amazing body.